In our world, there are three realms. The realm of dreams, home of the reverie, the realm of nightmares, home of the vagary, and the realm of reality, home of the humans. We control the sleeping world and watch over the waking one. Humans refer to us as guardian angels. Within our society, our powers and links to the human world are guarded by a certain card. The vagary are represented by spades and clovers, and the reverie are represented by diamonds and hearts. Who am I? I'm the Ace of Hearts, and my name is Riley. On August the 7th, 2020, those words would be echoed inside of a trailer that was revealed at the end of the August CD55 Direct, the second of such live streams that became a consistent occurrence on my channel in the months following. After working on the trailer, I began planning out my new original project called Ace of Hearts, which served as a love letter to forgotten projects of the past. This video will be going over what Ace of Hearts is, was, and could be in the future. This is a story of love, sweat, and tears over a year in the making. My name is Carnival, and let me tell you the story of the project that never was. Our story begins a few days prior to the CD55 Direct I just mentioned. After planning out my talking points, I realized that I could capitalize upon the namesake of my stream, a direct parody of the Nintendo Directs. And what did Nintendo Directs happen to have? A surprise reveal at the end. And so, with literally one day to go until the stream was scheduled, I created the base concept for a story I ended up calling Ace of Hearts. I wrote the script, drew the art, recorded, edited, and uploaded everything I needed for the first official trailer, and after a few technical difficulties, I released it out into the world. After the direct was finished, I was excited to actually work on the project I created, and pretty much knew nothing about yet. The basic plot I had was that an angel-like creature called Riley existed inside of a world where everyone owns a certain playing card, and the plot would revolve around her trying to hunt down her absentee mother. Of course, this plot would develop even further in the coming months, as I started world building, creating characters, and fleshing everything out more. My goal, initially, was to pitch this new series to the Wise Group Productions, a channel I co-own, in hopes of it becoming a series over there, whilst I worked on my main priority at the time, Project Frivo. So I worked hard in my free time, fleshing out the world and adding new elements to the story. Ace of Hearts was intended to be a spiritual successor to the bits of OC Tale that were actually original and not just a rehash of the Undertale plot. And I know you're thinking, isn't that what Crystal Desires was supposed to be? And to that, I can explain it like this. Crystal Desires takes the actual world, and, admittedly, a few Undertale references here and there along with it, whereas with Ace of Hearts, the intention was to take the characters of OC Tale and put them inside of a completely different environment than the original, essentially making a completely original story. Although, looking at my track record so far, every time I try to reboot OC Tale, the project turns into something completely different by the end. Unless you'll show the stars, because that comic was on thin ice when it was still a thing. And yes, STS is part of the OC Tale reboot verse too. But let's not get into too much of a tangent, that's for a different video. To help with fleshing out my new project, I asked around in some of the Discords I was in, to see if anybody would be interested in helping me develop some ideas for the new projects, and if they'd be interested in giving feedback to my ideas. And so, the Ace of Hearts Group DM was founded with its beginning members, Blu-ray, Mosa, and Ultra Luke. Later members of this group would grow to include Will the Guy Gamer, Prodin, Bram Dominator and Wise Kid temporarily, Laura, Blake TM, and A Doctor Who. Many ideas circled around during the early days, and it gave me more motivation than ever to keep on developing the project. It was now February of 2021. After I finished the draft for the pilot episode, drew out some concept art, and drew a poster, I was ready to pitch my new invention. And it just so happened that around the time Ace of Hearts was in a pitchable form, the Wise Group Productions was hosting a contest. A contest where you could pitch your series, and it could get picked up by them. Of course, I had to enter, and I was faced with some worthy opponents. I was up against 4 other possible series: Clockwork, Carnival, Masked, Faction of the Ancestors, and Empire. I was ready to bring my A-game into this friendly competition. I mean, I didn't even care that much if I lost. I just wanted to have the series off my hands. knowing that making the series was easier said than done, especially when my team consisted of only me and the voice actors I had hired. So, knowing my limits, I entered. In the first round, Faction of the Ancestors was voted out. Next was Clockwork Carnival. I had officially made the top 3. But then I lost. Empire and Masked progressed to the next round, leaving Ace of Hearts in 3rd place. And even though I said to myself that this was only a half-joke moment, I couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Oh well, I thought, there's always next time. And so, life goes on. Empire won the polls and is presently being worked on. It looks amazing from what I've seen so far, and I'd recommend you check it out once it releases. And congratulations to all of the other participants. I'll link their socials in the description if you want to go and check them out. Despite my efforts to work on Ace of Hearts some more, some complications ended up getting in the way. My mental health was rapidly declining thanks to university sucking my soul and wallet dry, and in April 2021 I quit, and moved halfway across the country to live with my dad. And even then, if we go all the way back to the beginning, perhaps Ace of Hearts was doomed to never actually become anything. As a few days after the Direct aired, I joined a roleplay server known as Rayward Academy. And less than 2 weeks later, I started working on my greatest project yet, the comic which came to be known as the Rayward manga. And as I started planning this new project, I wrote what could have only been an omen in the margin of my notebook. Ace of Hearts, I'm sorry in advance. I reached the decision that Ace of Hearts was never going to happen. It would eternally be stuck as only a concept, with a few scattered plot points contained across 2 Google Docs, 1 Google Slide, a Google Keep Note, and a Discord group chat. If only there was a way to tell this story that I'd been working on, to adapt it into a series, a comic, or anything, but the future looked bleak. I was already too occupied with drawing both Raywood and the Askelsford shorts, so Ace of Hearts and Show the Stars alongside it faded into the shadows. If only there was a way to fix that!